All right, today we're going to dive into a really powerful tool for making the best possible decision when, you just can't have it all. It's called linear programming, and it's all about turning these super complex choices into clear visual answers.
I mean, think about it for a second. Whether you're trying to manage a budget, plan a big project, or heck, even just figure out how to spend your weekend, you are always working with limits. So how do you find the absolute best, most optimal outcome? That's the big question we're going to tackle. And the tool that helps us do exactly that is linear programming. It's this brilliant mathematical way of taking tough choices and turning them into the best possible solutions.
Now, I know linear programming sounds pretty technical, maybe a little intimidating, but the idea behind it is actually super simple. It's just a method for finding the best possible outcome, like maximum profit or maybe minimum cost, while making sure you play by a very specific set of rules. And those rules are called constraints.
Okay, here's a simpler way to think about it. It's basically a recipe. Imagine you're a baker, and you're trying to make as much profit as you can from cakes and cookies. Your goal is to maximize your money, right? But you've got limits, like you only have so much flour and so much sugar. Well, linear programming is the mathematical recipe that tells you exactly how many cakes and cookies to make to get the best result from those ingredients.
So to use this recipe, we first have to really understand our ingredients and our limitations. In the world of linear programming, these limits are everything. They're called constraints.
In every single decision we make, there's always something holding us back, isn't there? We don't have endless money or infinite time, and it turns out these limitations are actually the key to this whole process.
So each one of these rules is a single constraint. It's a condition that you absolutely have to follow. For our baker, a constraint might be something like you can use no more than 10 cups of flour. And when you start putting all of these rules together, they begin to create this map of all your options.
And constraints aren't just some abstract math idea. They are the real world pushing back on you. It's the hard number you see in your bank account. It's the 24 hours in a day. For our baker, it's the actual amount of flour and sugar sitting in the pantry. All these things together, they basically define your playground.
Okay, so if constraints define our playground, how do we actually see it? Well, this is where linear programming gets really, really cool and visual. We're literally going to map out all of our possible options.
Just imagine drawing a line on a graph for every single one of your constraints. One for your budget, another one for your time, a line for that flour limit, another for the sugar limit. The area on the graph where all these rules overlap, it starts to form a very specific shape. And that shape is your map of what's possible.
And that map has a name. It's called the feasible region. It's feasible because any point you pick inside that region is a choice you can actually make. It's a valid, possible, feasible solution that respects all of your rules.
And this is the real power of this whole method. All of a sudden, your messy, overwhelming problem becomes this clear visual. Any point inside this shape is a go. It's a possible solution. Anything outside that shape, impossible. You can't do it because it breaks at least one of your rules. This map instantly filters out every choice you can't possibly make.
Okay, so we've got our goal, we've got our rules, and now we have a map of all of our possible options. Let's put this all together into a simple, clear process.
So the process is pretty straightforward. First, you define your goal. What are you trying to do? Maximize profit? Minimize waste? Second, you list out all of your limits, those are your constraints. Third, you graph those limits, and that creates your map. And finally, that map, your feasible region, shows you every valid option you have. And here's the kicker, the key insight. The absolute best answer, the optimal solution, is always going to be at one of the corners of that shape.
So, the big takeaway here is this. Linear programming isn't just some dusty old math concept. It's a structured way of thinking that can take a messy, complicated problem and turn it into a clear, simple picture. A guide that literally points you directly to the best possible decision you can make.
And that kind of leaves us with one final thought. From figuring out the best workout plan to optimizing the inventory for your small business, what problems in your own life are just waiting for a map to be drawn? What does your feasible region look like?